Hey, this is Doug Taylor, your favorite pastor. I want to share a great revelation with you from Romans chapter 5 that I know will help push you into a greater sense of life, accomplishment, and results. Paul says in Romans chapter 5 that we can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials. Wait a minute, Paul, what do you mean? Paul says, I get excited when I face difficulties. I get excited when I face challenges. I get excited when I face problems. Why would Paul get excited and take pleasure in a problem? He says, because we know in verse 3 that problems and trials help us develop endurance. Paul lets us know that one of the greatest privileges we receive from facing a problem is the gift of endurance. Endurance is the ability to push past difficulties, to continue in the face of adversity, because it is endurance that allows you to meet your goals. I found in working out that your mind will give up before your body does. There's always another push. There's always another rep. There's always another mile in your muscles, but you can only get to the push in your muscles when you make the push in your mind. There's so many things in life that we miss out on, not because we're not equipped, not because we're not informed, but because we've not mastered the muscle of endurance. And Paul said it is problems that train and develop and enhance your endurance. Then he says, number 2, endurance develops strength of character. Strength of character is the willpower to do what's right, to do what's right when you have the option to do wrong. Strength of character is the commitment to do what you set out to do, and when excuses are available, when people will allow you and expect you to quit, when people will give you the option to quit. With strength of character says, no, I'm staying in the game, not for you, but for me. I made a promise to myself that even though you will allow me to quit, I'm holding myself accountable to the commitments I made. Strength of character only comes after you've developed endurance. Once you've developed endurance and you say, no, there's still another push, the strength of character says, I'm proud because I don't quit when people give me permission. I don't quit when people expect me to. I can trust myself to keep my word to myself. Then he says, character strengthens our confident hope of salvation. Now, my confident hope of salvation is I'm fully persuaded that I am going to be liberated from my problem. Strength of salvation as a person of faith says, I know God is going to bring me out of my problem. So hope of salvation says, I know my character is going to bring me out of this crisis. The hope of salvation says, I believe I'm going to win through this challenge. There's a wonderful strength in having a hope of salvation. The hope of salvation says, my business is still going to win. Why? Because I've got strength of character and I know how to endure. The hope of salvation says my relationships are not going to crumble. Why? Because I have this. I'm fully convinced that it's going to work out. Why? Because I'm not going to stop working. I'm going to exercise willpower. I am fully confident that I don't quit on my promises. I don't quit on my processes. He says there's a confident hope of salvation, that I rest in an expectation that trouble won't last always. It won't last always in my finances. It won't last always in my relationships. It won't last always in my body. It won't last always in my home, in my plans, in my vision. Why? Because I have used this problem to develop strength of character. I've used this problem to develop the tool and muscle of endurance. And now I expect that it's going to quit before I quit. And then he lastly says, this hope will not lead to disappointment. I'm not going to be disappointed. Why? Because I'm using this problem to get stronger. I'm using this problem to develop my commitment to myself, that I don't quit on me when other people give me the option to do so. I made myself a promise that I won't back down. I made myself a promise that I won't quit. And I have a confident hope it's going to work out for my good. And I will not be disappointed. I believe the The problem you face is going to be a catalyst, a bridge, a tool to develop the muscles of endurance, develop the strength of character, to develop your positive outlook and hope of salvation, and the freedom, the liberty, the joy of not being disappointed. You're going to make yourself proud. You're going to make God proud. You're going to make your family proud. Why? Because you're going to make the most of the problem that you face.